In our day-to-day life, we pursue wellness from one or two, maximum three point of views. For example, if we are exercising, we feel that is good enough. Some of us combine exercise and diet and feel we are doing a lot for the body, which is true. But then there are other aspects that we need to take care so that our quality of life keeps improving. And as we age, we can maximize the usage of our body and mind to come out of that narrow perspective that only exercise or only diet is about wellness. We need to expand the definition and criteria for us to feel complete and whole. With that in mind, I have a few dimensions that I have listed. If we work on these aspects of our life, then we will feel truly satisfied and complete, and the quality of life will increase in all aspects. With that in mind, this discussion for today, that how do we improve different aspects of our lives and what dimensions we need to work at. Now, generally speaking, physical wellness is something we prioritize. So let us look at makes our body feel complete and strong. For physical wellness to happen, for physical wellness, we need two, three things. First of all, we need strength. That's first and foremost criteria for us feeling good about the body. Second, we need to have mobility, that we are moving without friction with some amount of ease in body. That's second criteria. Third is what are our energy levels throughout the day? Like, say I exercise, I am physically strong, I am flexible also, but within first 6 7 hours of the day my energy drops and I do not have the capacity to enjoy my life or spend time with my friends and family at the end of the day. And by the time I'm finishing the day, I'm totally crushed and I'm just good enough to sleep, no energy at all. So my energy levels are also extremely important criteria of how I judge my physical wellness. So strength, definitely. Mobility, yes. My energy levels throughout the day, that's another criteria. Then my cardiovascular health, that becomes my fourth criteria of how good I am physically. Like if I look at exercise, there are three criteria that need to be met for a complete exercise session. One, it should help you build strength. Two, it should keep you mobile. That is your flexibility aspect. And third is your cardiovascular health. So if your exercise routine does not help you complete all three aspects, then lacking and incomplete as an exercise routine. That's why people who spend a lot of time just going out for morning walks do not have a complete exercise routine. They may be giving 1 hour, 45 minutes, 1.5 hours for their morning walk. But that walk helps them build slight bit of cardiovascular activity and gives them some bit of freshness and fresh oxygen. That's about it. It does not help them build any kind of physical strength. It does not help them any kind of mobility. When we talk about physical wellness, strength, flexibility, cardiovascular health, and energy level, the four things that I should be looking at when I talk about my physical wellness. I'm not talking about my health in general, in the sense that I should not be ill, I should have enough immunity. Those things I'm not yet touching. Just the output of my physical training, my exercise routine should result in these four positives. If these four positives are not met, then my exercise routine is incomplete. Those who cycle, those who go to gym, if they are not involving the body so that these four aspects are met, then they have an incomplete routine. This is something that we need to ponder upon and reflect whether the physical exercise that I am providing to my body is complete in these sense. Now, all of you practice yoga. Does yoga help you achieve all of these things? Yoga is a very good exercise, because once you have finished practicing yoga for one intense hour, you feel energized after that. Those who practice yoga find they are full of energy throughout the day. So this energy level criteria is very well met if you are exercising, if you are practicing yoga. You build strength. There is a term called isometric body weight training, where you are building muscles just by the use of your body. Yoga falls into that category. It is isometric, it is body weight, and you are training yourself. So, isometric body weight training to build strength. And of course, we have seen how yoga helps you become more mobile, more flexible. So, all the four criteria that I have just mentioned, your cardiovascular health, your strength, your mobility, and your energy levels are met by practicing yoga regularly. That's a clear cut advantage. For those who are not into yoga so seriously, their yoga practice is not as intense as we practice. They have to supplement their practice by other things. Or else, if they are going to a gym, they must include cardiovascular activities and stretching exercises separately. Those who are into running must include strength training and flexibility separately. Those who are into swimming have an advantage in terms of building strength, cardiovascular activity, as well as some kind of mobility. So, those who are into swimming, that's the second best form of exercise, which is good for your body as an adult after yoga. If you are involved in any other kind of physical activity, make sure that all four criteria are met: strength, mobility, energy levels, and cardiovascular health. When we talk about physical wellness, we have to talk about your gut health, your hormonal balance, your sleep, your recovery. Everything is part of physical wellness. You cannot neglect any of it. Now, let us take up sleep. Each one of us has a requirement for how many hours we need to sleep to feel productive, rested, and so that we can go back to the world and be productive, think properly, have cognitive clarity. So, if you are sleeping, the general rule is 8 hours, but 8 hours is not mandatory for all of us. For some, 8 hours may be more than what is required. For some, 8 hours may be slightly less. 6 to 8 hours is something that you must understand how much sleep you need. If you are compromising on sleep for whatever reason, you must ensure that you are doing your utmost best to get enough sleep. If you are on your mobile phone and that is disturbing your sleep, be disciplined enough to avoid that. If you are into eating late and that is disturbing your sleep, avoid eating late at night. If you are spending too much time watching television or reading books, even which are constructive habits, but that pushes you to sleep late, avoid doing that. Some of us are high on energy if we exercise in the evening, then avoid doing that. Anything that obstructs your sleeping pattern or disturbs your sleep, try and avoid that. If you find that you are waking up too often in the evening, look at your salt content, reduce the amount of salt that you are taking in, and your need to wake up at night to go to the bathroom will be less and less. Salt also has an impact on how we sleep and how often our sleep breaks. Look at sleep as the most important aspect of your physical wellness. If you do not sleep enough or do not sleep well, do whatever is in your power to fix your sleep. Another thing vis-a-vis sleep is that our mind, our brain, there is a lot of chemical activity that happens because of nerve impulses that take information back and forth. That kind of chemical activity has residual toxics that are accumulated in the brain, which gets flushed out only when we are sleeping. And so, to have clarity in our thought process, our cognitive function to be of the optimum level, we need sleep. So, for our muscles to recover, we need sleep. So, sleep becomes extremely important, even more important than exercise even more important than your diet. Sleep, diet, exercise. Priority wise, if I had to improve my quality of life, I'll first take care of my sleep, then fix my diet, and then I will exercise. So if I cannot work on all three together, this will be my priority and sequence: sleep, then diet, and then exercise. Questions, comments, thoughts on this, please? Yes, ma'am.
Abhishek, you just said our intake of salt affects the quality of sleep.
Yes.
Uh, in,
Especially in the evening, but throughout the day as well. If I am used to snacking or having high salt intake post 6 p.m. or 7 p.m., then my tendency to use washroom at night will be more. So I need to reduce my salt intake, especially post sunset, to help me with sleep. Salt intake will have an impact on my blood pressure. If blood pressure is taken care, I will be sleeping better because my heart will be, when it is supposed to rest, it can rest at night. Otherwise,
Mm.
it has to pump harder even when the body is at rest.
At rest.
So,
Okay,
yeah.
understood.
Now, how salt intake is related to my blood pressure? The sodium in salt increases the water content in the body, which increases the volume of blood that flows through my capillaries and arteries, which in turn pushes the arteries beyond the point it should. So there is a continuous pressure on the arteries because of the increased volume of blood, which is the result of increased volume of water in the body. So salt intake becomes important. Physical wellness. Now, what are other aspects of physical wellness? My gut health becomes extremely important. So we always talk about protein when we are like protein is the most discussed aspect of diet, but fiber also should be given equal importance. If I have fiber, then my gut bacteria is happy and I have a very good quantity of positive bacteria that impact not only my gut. If gut is in a healthy condition, that has an impact on overall health, my hormonal secretions. Anthony.
Is there any understanding or concept of too much fiber? Whether you're having whole wheat or oats and porridges through the day, does it affect the other nutrients?
Too much fiber is, if you are having too much fiber, you will see that there is a lot of bloating. If what you are eating results into bloating, one of the reasons can be that there is too much fiber.
Okay.
Too much fiber will mean that if you are overdoing that, then you are compromising on protein or other forms of food that are important for you. So if my food is primarily vegetables, it is not entirely a bad idea, but too much of vegetables for which I have not built a capacity for, that becomes difficult for me to digest, results into bloating. And then if I'm having too much of vegetables, the diet is lopsided towards fiber. Then what about protein? And what about fruits and carbohydrates that provide you instant energy and protein that helps you build muscle? Fiber is important, protein is important, so is grain based carbohydrate, so is lentil, your herbs and spices. So what you are looking at is to create a well balanced diet. That becomes more important than any other criteria. So balanced diet is what you are looking at, not a lopsided diet. Whenever we think of a keto diet, very few vegetables are allowed. Now, that is a very restrictive diet. A restrictive diet is easier to implement because the definition is very strong and you can implement it in the short run. Long term, it is very difficult to implement. Any kind of restrictive diet, say you decide you will not have carbohydrates, you will only have protein, it is easier to implement initially, but long term impact on your body plus its sustainability plus your social life becomes adverse. So, well balanced diet is what you are looking at, and You have to invest time and energy to understand what is, say you are protein deficient, you are trying to exercise. So you will have to focus on protein right now. Other things can be reduced to a minimum, but cannot be eliminated. If you're trying to lose weight, you have to see which components to reduce, whether there should be nuts in your diet, or you can remove all the nuts that you are eating. You have to find out specific things and see whether in your current state, what is a balanced diet. You have to understand your current physical condition, how you are utilizing your body, what you are lacking, and then define what a balanced diet for you should look like. So a balanced diet will not be the same throughout your life. You have to modulate your diet with your requirement. Sometimes you will need a fiber rich diet, but at other times you are okay with a moderately fiber rich diet. Sometimes you will need more input of protein, and then you can regularize. Once you have stabilized your muscle growth, you have stabilized your activity, then your protein requirement should match your activity level. So balanced diet is not a static thing. With your age, activity level, with your health, with the current season you are in, where you are placed geographically, all these things will result you formulating what is balanced for you. So engagement with food, engagement with your diet should not only be driven by taste and habit. There has to be more thought that you need to put in there.
Thanks.
Any other specific question vis-a-vis physical wellness? Now, whenever we talk about comprehensive wellness, we cannot stop our discussion at physical wellness. Physical wellness is the most talked about, most researched, most frequently commented upon, and most readily implemented. Second to physical wellness in discussion is mental wellness. Now, you must look at mental wellness as closely as you watch your physical health. Think that we have a body and a mind, we have a body and we have emotions, we have a body and we have intellect. Our emotions, our intellect, our thought process, and our physical body work together. My body is impacted by my thoughts, and my emotions and my thoughts impact my body. This relationship of body and mind needs to be acknowledged, understanding that my body and mind are connected. I cannot take care of my body in isolation. This needs to grow. And also that my mind and the workings of my mind has a huge impact on how I feel, how I experience the world, and how I feel about my life. That originates in my mind, what we call mental wellness. If for any reason I don't feel positive about my life or myself, my situation, my body, regardless of the external situation, if there is lack of positivity in my mind and that becomes a pattern, I must be alarmed. That should be checked no matter how we go. The method can vary. You can meditate, talk to a friend, go out and take a holistic vacation. You can go and talk to a mentor, a teacher. Whatever you need to do, you should again approach it with alarm that there is lack of positivity. Lack of positivity is the first window through, through which you get towards boredom, hopelessness, depression, and then clinical issues can come up. If you see yourself not being positive for a considerable period of time, say a day, 2 days, 3 days, a week, 2 weeks, you see there is a pattern. You are more irritable, you are snapping at people, you are not feeling good about the body, you don't want to mix with people, you don't want to engage, you don't want to pick up calls. If there is negativity that you are experiencing, tackle it then and there. If you are feeling jealous, if you are feeling, if you are relating to others negatively. If there is an issue with your mental hygiene, handle that as well. Not all negative thoughts come with depression, decision fatigue. These are all signs of not positive states of mind. If you find yourself in any of these, do address it actively. Your methods can vary, but this is an issue that needs to be addressed. Question, comments, anything. Now, you can have various kinds of situations in life. You could be in a very good, everything is settled financially, occupation wise, family is stable, health is stable, quality of life is there. All basic parameters of life have been taken care. This could be your situation. And yet, you could feel restlessness in your mind, feel incomplete, or feel that there is nothing that motivates you, even though everything is settled, like all aspects taken care, yet you do not feel motivated enough to enjoy your own life that you have created. No motivation or thought into how to utilize the life that you have worked towards. This is a very dangerous mental state. If you find yourself not motivated enough to enjoy your own life, this is a sign of mental negativity that needs to be addressed. There are various ways to address mental negativity. Many of us are being pushed towards numbness by over usage of our mobile phones. So much of input is coming through our mobile phones that mind is becoming numb. Give yourself time to get bored, or give your mind a break from external stimulus so that internal thoughts and desires can rise. So if you are feeling something, if you are emotionally charged, or if there are thoughts that need to come out, or there is a talk that you need to have with your own self, do not bombard yourself with external stimulus. External stimulus is available to us like never before. So much of our time goes into our phones. The moment we have 2, 3, 4 minutes free, we have a tendency to look at our phone. And that results into a degree of numbness, which results into no self talk. There is no room for your mind to talk to you, whether good or bad. That's also something that you must address as extensively as possible. You have your physical wellness, your mental wellness. There is one more aspect of awareness. If I can become more aware of my own thought and on my own emotion and how I am behaving, that helps me, that helps me to see myself, bring about change within me. If I am someone who has no awareness of my thought, of my action, of my behavior, then there is no way I can do a course correction. This is where moment by moment awareness comes into play, and this is where introspection also comes into play. Moment by moment awareness is an active thing. As you are behaving, as you are thinking, you are aware of yourself. Plus, there has to be a review of how you behave, how you spent your time, how you experienced your day, how you thought, and what kind of language did you use to talk to yourself. This needs to be introspected at the end of the day. Awareness of how you are spending your time plus an act of introspection are two tools that I find extremely useful to create a healthy mind, because a mind which is not aware of what it is thinking and what it is doing cannot bring about any change. So, to step back and observe at the end of the day, and to step back and observe as it is happening during the day, these are two tools that you can utilize. This develops very strong, very healthy state of mind where changes are possible. If you cannot observe your own self, there is no way you can improve your mental health. So, like physical health, if it is a factor of exercise, sleep, and nutrition, then mental health is a factor of mindfulness and observation. Some people can introspect by writing a journal. Some people can introspect by contemplating, by meditating. Some people can introspect by writing, recording their thoughts, or doing video diaries. Whatever is your method, do apply some effort to be aware of how you are behaving. If you want to master mindfulness, you need meditation. If you want to master introspection, you need to be non judgmental. There are a lot of things that you can see very starkly, that this is how you behave, this is what you thought. And that can be a humbling experience. So you should be able to take your own introspective knowledge, or the knowledge coming out of your own introspection, with an open mind. So there you need patience and deliberate effort to be non-judgmental. These are qualities required for mental wellness. Question, comments, thoughts, please. Which aspect of mental well-being you find the most challenging? Any thoughts on challenges that you face vis-a-vis your mental health, or what you find your somebody in your friend or your family, or what kind of mental challenges that you see around you? Like today we were talking that loneliness born out of being self-centered and born out of lack of effort on part of younger people, this is pushing them towards loneliness. That is one of the key mental challenges I find with younger people. Doing same kind of work in and day out is challenging. That is where your occupational wellness comes into play. Doing the same kind of work day in and day out can be challenging, can be boring, which is 100% right. How you find motivation is key. If your work is public facing, where you interact a lot with people, then it is slightly less challenging. But if your work is not where you're interacting with human beings that much, to work day in and day out with a disciplined manner becomes quite a bit of challenge. Now, when you are working, and your work does not involve any innovation, is not challenging, or has stabilized, you have reached a state where you do not have to put in that much effort, but you have to be present for your work. I feel if you can keep part of your mind engaged with your breath, and be aware of your breath, then you are practicing mindfulness. If you need to put 100% of your mind into your work, do that. When you don't need to, say you are working for 8 or 10 hours, there will be times when you are not engaged with your work with full attention. Probably you don't need to put in that much mental effort at that hour. Utilize that time to be aware of your breath. So build or work towards building breath awareness when your work is mundane. That will help you find energy into whatever you are working. Breath awareness can cut through any form of boredom. If you find your work life getting monotonous, just become aware of your breath. Awareness of your breath mimics your mind actually. There are a lot of things that run in your mind which you are generally not aware of. Your anxiety, happiness, your planning, everything. Your mind has a cumulative way of behaving. Like multiple thoughts results in jumbled emotions. Those jumbled emotions, based on what kind of thought predominates, results into a particular kind of breathing. So even if you cannot declutter your mind and just become aware of your breath, then you will be able to sync yourself with the emotions that are rising in your mind. If you can sync yourself with the emotions, there is not a single dull moment in your life, because our minds are quite fertile. There's so much that keeps happening there. So if your work does not require 100% energy, give part of your attention to your breath, and you will see excitement coming back in a very different way. Not something that will make you restless, but something that will make you feel alive. Even when everything external is boring, our mind is so fertile, so active, so many emotions, so many thoughts. Becoming aware of your breath up with those emotions actually. Any other challenge? Yes, ma'am.
Abhishek, I really liked your suggestion of how we should breathe in between hard work. That's really very nice. In today's world, we are all so stressed with our work throughout the day
Yeah.
that when we get a little bit of time, we should take care of our breath. It's very nice. Thank you.
Taking a break from your work is one way to become more aware of the breath. And that is very active. You could do it while you are in a car or alone in your room. You can be actively aware of your breath.
Yeah.
Part of your attention will be on your breath. So, say you are doing something mundane where your mental involvement is not that much. Part of your attention could be on your breath.
Yes, yes.
So,
Very nice.
exercises. One, you actively stop everything you're doing and become aware of your breath. And two, you are aware of your breath as you are working.
Okay. Yeah.
Emotional wellness and mental wellness are quite related. Emotional wellness I categorize separately because how we emote, like mental wellness is something where your mind is impacting you and you alone. While emotional wellness, I'm separating it because your emotions can impact yourself and your relation and your work and everything external to you as well. So when your mental inputs translate or become emotions and those emotions drive your interaction, there has to be regulation there as well. If what you think is what you speak, you may be hurting many people while you don't intend to hurt them, but you may end up hurting them. If you keep your negative emotions of anger, irritation, jealousy, comparison, of being victimized, if you do not keep them under check, then these express in very unhealthy manner as well. So, best is to cultivate mental hygiene where you do not allow any negative quality or thought to take root, which means you do not justify any negative emotion. You do not justify your anger. You do not justify snapping at others. You do not justify being sarcastic. So, you put a premium to the quality of behavior you exhibit. That is important to build mental hygiene. No matter what happens, you will not allow any negative thought or expression to come out of you. If that is the kind of premium you put to your own behavior, you become quite emotionally stable. You become someone who takes charge of their own emotion. Will it lead to suppression of emotions? No. For example, you feel insulted by someone or feel something unjust has been meted out to you or someone dear to you. You can express that feeling of being insulted in a very aggressive manner, or you could do that in a firm manner. Firmness of response helps protect your own mental peace and mitigate the situation. An aggressive response, which is not based on mental tranquility or just driven by pure rage or extremity of an emotion, will lead you to feel exhausted and completely drained. So, a response to a negative situation is a must. Otherwise, you feel like a doormat. But that response should be born out of stability and not rage. You must make sure that your response means something and does not blow up without any reason. That kind of emotional maturity, if you exercise and exhibit, then all negative situations that you experience can be dealt very strongly, very gracefully at the same time. I can see. There's a very thin line between having sense of humor and being sarcastic. Absolutely. This is Chunilalji is sharing this thought. Now, the motivation between humor and sarcasm is important. When you want to slight someone and have fun at the expense of others, then there is a bit of sarcasm involved. And when your intentions are not to put down someone, then the element of humor comes out. A healthy mind will always be respectful of others. You can be very mean behind sweet words. Yeah, that is something we should avoid. That causes disturbance between very good relationships as well. Sarcasm is best left out, especially between family members and friends. Closer the relationship, bigger the impact of sarcasm. Between your friends and family, we could let go of sarcasm. Yes, if it is required somewhere to be diplomatic, you use it. But between your closest ones, we should avoid sarcasm because our closest ones will remember sarcasm. Even at the cost of being boring, we should let go. Cannot balance out humor and sarcasm. I will rather not have humor uh, so that I do not err on the side of sarcasm. Any questions, thoughts, comments on this? Now, for comprehensive wellness, we need physical wellness, we need good mental wellness, we need balanced expression of our emotions. These are three primary things that we are looking at. Now, if I could bring in philosophy, I could bring in spirituality in my life, then I will go beyond the moral and cursory ethics of life. If I need to build a framework within which I will work, that framework needs to be established on strong foundations. So, the importance I give to self control, the importance I give to expressing my emotions in a proper manner, the importance I give to my speech, this, if it is based on day to day behavior, I may or may not be able to find solid grounds to behave properly. I may be tempted to give in to my baser instincts, not being positive, not taking care of my body. But if my wellness is rooted deep into spirituality or the philosophy, then I will have strong grounds to behave in a certain manner. If I know that eating right takes me towards sattvic behavior and eating heavy, greasy food or alcoholic beverages pushes me towards tamasic behavior, then I will have solid reason to eat and drink in a way which brings me good not only in the current moment but in the long run as well. So my depth of reasoning improves if I have spirituality and philosophy backing my behavior. For that reason, you need good amount of philosophy and spirituality in your life so that your physical wellness, mental wellness, emotional wellness can have strong foundations. For your framework of behavior to be strong or your framework of wellness to have solid grounding, you need spirituality and wellness. That's what I feel is one of the major contributions of philosophy and spirituality. We may or may not find nirvana, we may or may not be ready for liberation, or we may not even desire that. Experience the life that I have right now the fullest possible or in the best possible manner. To do that, you need spirituality and philosophy. What comes after life or beyond is something we don't know, we have not experienced. But spirituality and philosophy helps us bring solid reasons to live life in a certain manner, which completes or complements the idea of wellness. So these are some of my thoughts for today. Physical, mental, and emotional wellness. If I take care of these three things, then I will feel full, then I will feel satisfied, then I will be purposeful in my life. Otherwise, my wellness is lopsided.